I've been looking for you. Welcome back. Welcome back, Kingdom Builders, Road Trippers. Welcome back to the road trip. All right, Akeem and Akatim. That's right, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the road trip. We're all here. All right. Hey, shalom, man. Peace and blessings. My love and my respect to you. All right. All praises to the Most High. Who? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Right? And through him, and for him, and from him, all things. What? All things. No, just a little bit. No, all things are done and accomplished for his will and to his delight and glory. Hallelujah. All right. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Glory to Yahweh Shai. Honors to the Ruach HaKodesh. That's right, the Holy Spirit. And my love, my respect goes out to each and every single one of you, road trippers and kingdom builders, right? My brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, aunties and uncles, grandmas and grandpas, everybody in the house, in-laws. In-laws. Yeah, that's right. Right? Peace and blessings to your homes, your dwelling places, right? Where you live, where you stay at, you know? That's right. Right? Peace and blessings to your friends and your loved ones. Peace and blessings to your children, your kids, right? Peace and blessings to your pets. To them little fur babies, man. The ones that we love so much, that's right. Our little dogs and cats and all that stuff and all that, right? All our pets, man. It's our family. So anyway, check this out. All of that pleasantry taken care of. We're back here in the life of Flavius Josephus, and we're going to be reading chapter 35 until question mark, right? I don't know when I'm stopping. I'm going to read until I feel like it's about that time. All right, cool. If you have these scrolls, being the complete works of Josephus, then if you want to read along with me, then please. But if not, then just sit back and relax and let me go ahead and read. It is almost Shabbat coming up pretty soon. We're almost at the end of a long week, y'all. Well, long and short for some, and those and others, and you know, it is relative, right? But we're almost at the end of a week. And if you've had a short week, hey man, it was a good week, ain't it? But if it was a long week, then hey, we're almost done. All right, let's get this. All right, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and get a little bit of reading to just kind of uplift and edify and just continue the story of the life of Flavius Josephus, all right? No further ado, chapter 35. Let's continue, family. I love you, Mishpachah. Let's go. Let us begin. Chapter 35, and it reads, Now the men of Tiberias, after I was gone to Trachai, right? We're going to say Trachai, or Trachai, right? Perceived what stratagem I had used against them, and they admired how I had put an end to their foolish rebellion, without shedding of blood. But how? But now, when I had sent for some of those multitudes of the people of Tiberias out of a prison, among whom were Justus and his father Pistus, I made them to dine with me. And during our supper time, I said to them that I knew the power of the Romans was superior to all others, but did not say so publicly because of the robbers. So I advised them to do as I did, and to wait for a proper opportunity, and not to be uneasy at my being their commander, for that they could not expect to have another who would use the like moderation that I had done. I also put Justus in mind how the Galatians had cut off his brother's hands before ever I came to Jerusalem, upon an accusation laid against him, as if he had been a rogue, and had forged some letters. as also how the people of Gamala in a rebellion they raised against the Babylonians after the departure of Philip killed Charles, or we'll call him Chars, who was a kinsman of Philip, and nonetheless how they had wisely punished Jesus, his brother Justus's sister's husband, with death. When I had said this to them during supper time, I in the morning ordered Justus and all the rest that were in prison to be released and sent away. But before this, it happened that Philip, the son of Jachimus, went out of the citadel of Gabala upon the following occasion, when Philip had been informed that Varus was put out of his government by King Agrippa, and that Equicalas Modius, a man that was his longtime friend and companion, was come to succeed him. He wrote to him and related what turns of fortune he had, and desired him to forward the letters he sent to the king and queen. Now when Modius had received these letters, he was exceedingly glad and sent the letters to the king and queen, who were then about Bertus. Yep, that's correct. But when King Agrippa knew that the story of Philip was false, for it had been given out that the Yahudim had begun a war with the Romans, and that Philip had been their commander in the war, he sent some horsemen to conduct Philip to him. And when he was come, he saluted him very obligingly, and showed him the Roman commanders, and told them that this was the man of whom the report had gone about, as if he had revolted from the Romans. He also directed him to take some horsemen with him, and to go quickly to the citadel of Gamala, and to bring out from there all his servants, and to restore the Babylonians to Batanai, right? Again, he charged him to take all possible care that none of his subjects should be guilty of making any invocation. Accordingly, upon these directions from the king, he hurried to do what he was commanded. That is the end of chapter 36. Let's slow it down and make this smoother, all right? Come on, let's go, family, all right? Let's continue to chapter 37. Let's make this a little bit better, all right? Let's go, pay attention. Chapter 37, and it reads, Now there was one Joseph, the son of a female physician, who excited a great many young men to join with him. He also insolently addressed himself to the principal persons at Gamala, and persuaded them to revolt from the king and take up arms, and gave them hopes that they should by his means recover their liberty. And some they forced into the service, and those that would not acquiesce, and what they had resolved on they killed. They also killed Chares, and with him Jesus, one of his kinsmen, and a brother of Justus of Tiberias. As we have already said, those of Gamala also wrote to me, desiring me to send them an armed force and workmen to raise up the walls of their city. Nor did I reject either of their request. The region of Galanites, did also revolt from the king, as far as the village Solima. I also built a wall about Seleucia and Soganai, which are villages naturally of very great strength. Moreover, I, in like manner, walled several villages of Upper Galilee, though they were very rocky of themselves. Their names are Gemniah, and Maroth, and Akabare. I also fortified in the lower Galilee the cities Terakai, Tiberias, Sopharis, and the villages, the cave of Arbela, Bersobe, Salamin, Jatapata, Cafarecho in Sico, and Jaffa and Mount Tabor. I also laid up a great quantity of grain in those places, and arms too, for their security afterward. That's the end of chapter 37. All right, Shalom. My bad. Chapter 38, and it reads, "But the hatred that John the son of Levi bore to me grew now more violent, while he could not bear my prosperity with patience. So he proposed to himself by all means possible to make away with me and build the walls of Giscala, which was the place of his birth. He then sent his brother Simon and Jonathan, and son of Cesena, and about 100 armed men to Jerusalem to Simon, the son of Gamaliel, in order to persuade him to include the citizens of Jerusalem to take from me the government over the Galatians and to give their permission for conferring that authority upon him. This Simon was of the city of Jerusalem and of a very noble family, of the sect of the Pharisees, which are supposed to excel others in the accurate knowledge of the laws of their country. He was a man of great wisdom and reason, and capable of restoring public affairs by his wisdom, when they were in all ill posture. He was also an old friend of the companion of John, but at that time he had a difference with me. When therefore he had received such an exhortation, he persuaded the high priest Ananias and Jesus, the son of Gamaliel, and some others of the same rebellious faction to cut me down, since I was growing so great, and not to overlook me while I was exalting myself to the height of glory. He said that it would be for the advantage of the Galatians if I were deprived of my government there. Ananias also and his friends asked them to make no delay about the matter, lest I should get the knowledge of what was happening too soon, and should come and make an assault upon the city with a great army. This was the counsel of Simon, but Ananias, the high priest, demonstrated to them that this was not an easy thing to be done, because many of the high priests and of the rulers of the people bore witness that I had acted like an excellent general, and that it was the work of ill men to accuse one against whom they had nothing to say." That's the end of chapter 38. All right, let's continue. Let's get some more of this. Chapter 39. When Simon heard Ananias say this, he desired that the messengers would conceal the thing and not let it be known among many, for that he would take care to have Josephus removed out of Galilee very quickly. So he called for John's brother Simon and charged him that they should send presents to Ananias and his friends, for as he said, they might probably by that means persuade them to change their minds. And indeed, Simon did at length thus achieve what he aimed at. For Ananias and those with him, being corrupted by bribes, agreed to expel me out of Galilee without making the rest of the citizens acquainted with what they were doing. Accordingly, they resolved to send men of distinction as to their families, and of distinction as to their learning also. Two of these were of the populace, Jonathan and Ananias, by sect Pharisees, which the third, Josar, was of the stock of the priests, and a Pharisee also, and Simon, the last of them, was of the youngest of the high priest. These were told that when they were come to the multitude of the Galatians, they should ask them what was the reason of their love to me. And if they said that it was because I was born at Jerusalem, that they should reply that they four were all born at the same place. And if they should say it was because I was well versed in the law, they should reply that neither were they unacquainted with the practices of their country. But if, besides these, they should say they loved me because I was a priest, they should reply that two of these were priests also. That's the end of chapter 39. You see how turncoats go. All right, man. Chapter 40, and it reads, Now when they had given Jonathan and his companions these instructions, they gave them 40,000 drachmas out of the public money. But when they heard that there was a certain Galilean that then was staying at Jerusalem, whose name was Jesus, who had about him a band of 600 armed men. They sent for him and gave him 3 months' pay, and gave him orders to follow Jonathan and his companions and be obedient to them. See what I'm saying? I'm going to interject right here, okay? Because they use the name Jesus just so willy-nilly. They just throw it around. There's so many people named Jesus, right? Or Jesus if you're Spanish, and there's people named that. There's only one name that you've never heard anyone ever have, and that name has power. That name is Yahawashai. Yahawashai. All right? So pay attention. When you hear these names Jesus, you're not talking about the Messiah, unless we're in the New Testament, which you know they bastardized and they changed a lot of things. But we're about to continue. This Jesus that we're talking about is not the Messiah. All right? Let that be known. And we just finished talking about another Jesus who was the son of someone named, what was it? Shapalis? I can't remember. But there's another Jesus, and we're talking about another one right now. So pay attention. Here we go. Let's continue. They also gave money to 300 men that were citizens of Jerusalem to maintain them all, and ordered them also to follow the ambassadors. And when they had complied and were gotten ready for the march, Jonathan and his companions went out with them, having along with them John's brother and 100 armed men. The charge that was given them by those that sent them was this: that if I would voluntarily lay down my arms, they should send me alive to the city of Jerusalem, but that, in case I opposed them, they should kill me and fear nothing, for that it was their command for them to do so to do. They also wrote to John to make all ready for fighting me, and gave orders to the inhabitants of Sepphoris and Gabara and Tiberias to send reinforcements to John. And that's the end of chapter 10. All right, cool. Chapter 41, and it reads, Now, as my father wrote me an account for this, for Jesus the son of Gamaliel. You hear that? For Jesus the son of Gamaliel, who was present in the council, a friend and companion of mine, told him of it. I was very much troubled, as discovering thereby that my fellow citizens proved so ungrateful to me, as out of envy to give order that I should be killed. My father earnestly pressed me also in his letter to come to him, for that he longed to see his son before he died. I informed my friends of these things, and that in 3 days' time I should leave the country and go home. Upon hearing this, they were all very sorry, and asked me with tears in their eyes not to leave them to be destroyed, for so they thought they should be, if I were deprived of the command over them. But as I did not grant the request, but was taken care of my own safety, the Galatians, out of their dread of the consequence of my departure, that they should then be at the mercy of the robbers, sent messengers over all Galilee to inform them of my resolution to leave them. Whereupon, as soon as they heard it, they got together in great numbers from all parts, with their wives and children, and this they did, as it appeared to me, not more out of their affliction to me than out of their fear on their own account. For while I stayed with them, they supposed that they should suffer no harm. So they all came into the great plain wherein I lived, the name of which was Asokis. That's the end of chapter 41. All right, hallelujah. Selah. 42. But wonderful it was what a dream I saw that very night, for when I had betaken myself to my bed, as grieved and disturbed at the news that had been written to me, it seemed to me that a certain person stood by me and said, O Josephus, leave off to afflict your soul, and put away all fear, for what now grieves you will render you very considerable, and in all respects most happy, for you shall get over not only these difficulties, but many others with great success. success. However, be not cast down, but remember that you are to fight with the Romans. When I had seen this dream, I got up with an intention of going down to the plain. Now when the whole multitude of the Galatians, among whom were the women and children, saw me, they threw themselves down upon their faces, and with tears in their eyes begged me not to leave them exposed to their enemies, nor to go away and permit their country to be injured by them. But when I did not comply with their pleas, and they compelled me to take an oath that I would stay with them. They also cast abundance of reproaches upon the people of Jerusalem, that they would not let their country enjoy peace. That's the end of chapter 42. We're not done. Let's continue. Chapter 43. When I heard this and saw what sorrow the people were in, I was moved with compassion to them, and felt that I should undergo the most manifest hazards for the sake of so great a multitude. So I let them know I would stay with them. And when I had given order that 5,000 of them should come to me armed and with provisions for their maintenance, I sent the rest away to their own homes. And when those 5,000 were come, I took them together with 3,000 of the soldiers that were with me before, and 80 horsemen, and marched to the village of Chabolo, situated in the confines of Ptolemais, and there kept my forces together, pretending to get ready to fight with Placidas, who was come with 2 cohorts of footmen and 1 troop of horsemen, and was sent there by Cestius Gallus to burn those villages of Galilee that were near Ptolemais. See, you're not hearing about all this in the Bible, man. There's mad wars going on. There's crazy wars going on. And it reads, listen. A siege ramp had been built against Ptolemais, so I pitched my camp at about the distance of 60 furlongs from that village. And now we frequently brought out our forces as if we would fight, but proceeded no further than skirmishes at a distance. For when Placidas perceived that I was earnest to come to a battle, he was afraid and avoided it. Yet did he not remove from the neighborhood of Ptolemais. That's the end of chapter 43. It's getting heated up. Oh, Josephus is about to bring that smoke to his front door, boy. That's right, Naga. All right, man. All right, chapter 44. About this time, it was that Jonathan and his fellow legates came and were sent, and as we have said already by Simon and Ananus, the high priest, and Jonathan contrived how he might catch me by treachery, for he dared not make any attempt upon me openly. So he wrote me the following epistle. Jonathan and those that are with him and are sent by the gospel, sent by the people of Jerusalem to Josephus, sending greetings. We are sent by the principal men of Jerusalem, who have heard that John of Giscala has laid many snares for you, to rebuke him and to exhort him to be subject to you hereafter. We are also desirous to consult with you about our common concerns and what is fit to be done. We therefore desire you to come to us quickly, and to bring only a few men with you, for this village will not contain a great number of soldiers. Thus it was that they wrote as expecting one of these 2 things, either that I should come without armed men, and then they should have me wholly in their power, or if I come with a great number, they should judge me to be a public enemy. Now it was a horseman who brought the letter, a man at the other times bold, and one that had served in the army under the king. It was the 2nd hour of the night that he came, when I was feasting with my friends and the leaders of the Galatians. This man, upon my servants telling me that a certain horseman of the Jewish nation was called in at my command, but did not so much as salute me at all, but held out a letter and said, "This letter is sent to you by those that are come from Jerusalem. Do you write an answer to it quickly, for I am obliged to return to them very soon." Now my guest could not be wonder at the could not but wonder at the boldness of the soldier, but I desired him to sit down and dine with us. But when he refused to do so, I held the letter in my hands as I received it and fell into conversation with my guest about other matters. But a few hours afterwards I got up. When I had dismissed the rest to go to their beds, I directed only 4 of my intimate friends to stay and ordered my servant to get some wine ready. I also opened the letter so, and nobody could perceive it. And understanding thereby presently the purport of the writing, I sealed it up again, and appeared as if I had not yet read it, but only held it in my hands. I ordered 20 drachmas should be given the soldier for the charges of his journey. And when he took the money and said that he thanked me for it, I perceived that he loved money, and that he was to be caught chiefly by that means. And I said to him, If you will but drink with us, you shall have a drachma for every glass you drink. So he gladly embraced the proposal, and drank a great deal of wine, in order to get more money, and was so drunk that at last he could not keep the secrets he was entrusted with, but I discovered them without my putting questions to him, viz. That a treacherous design was contrived against me, and that I was doomed to die by those that sent him. When I heard this, I wrote back this answer: Josephus to Jonathan, and those that are with him, send greetings. Upon the information that you are come in health into Galilee, I rejoice. And this especially because I can now resign the care of the public affairs here into your hands, and return into my native country, which is what I have desired to do a great while. And I confess, I ought not only to come to you as Zaloth, but Father, as this without your commands, but I desire you to execute me, because I cannot do it now, since I watch the motions of Placidas, who has a mind to go up into Galilee, and this I do here at Chabolo. Do you therefore, on the receipt of this epistle, come here to me. Fare you well. That's the end of chapter 44. All right. Chapter 45. When I had written thus and given the letter to be carried by the soldier, I sent along with him 30 of the Galatians of the best characters, and gave them instructions to salute those ambassadors, but to say nothing else to them. I also gave orders to as many of those armed men whom I esteemed most faithful to me to go along with the others, everyone with him whom he was to guard, lest some conversation might pass between those whom I sent and those who are with Jonathan. So those men went to Jonathan. But when Jonathan and his partners had failed in their first attempt, they sent me another letter, the contents whereof were as follows: Jonathan and those with him, to Josephus, send greeting. We require you to come to us, to the village of Gabarath, on the 3rd day without any armed men, that we may hear what you have to lay to the charge of John of Gishgala. When they had written this letter, they saluted the Galatians whom I sent, and came to Jaffa, which was the largest village of all Galilee, and encompassed with very strong walls, and had a great number of inhabitants in it. There the multitude of men with their wives and children met them, and exclaimed loudly against them, and desired them to be gone, and not to envy them the advantage of an excellent commander. With these clamors, Jonathan and his partners were greatly provoked, although they dared not show their anger openly. So they made them no answer, but went to other villages. But still, the same clamors met them from all the people, who said, Nobody should persuade them to have any other commander besides Josephus. So Jonathan and his partners went away from them without success, and came to Sephoris, and the greatest city of all Galilee, Salake. Now the men of that city, who inclined to the Romans in the sentiments, met them indeed, but neither praised nor reproached me. And when they were gone down from Sephoris to Ascolis, Asokis, the people of that place, made a clamor against them as those of Jaffa had done, whereupon they were able to contain themselves no longer, but ordered the armed men that were with them to beat those that made the clamor with their clubs. And when they came to Gabara, John met them with 3,000 armed men, but as I understood by their letter that they had resolved to fight against me, I arose from Chabolo with 3,000 armed men also, but left in my camp one of my fastest friends, and came to Jalapata, as desirous to be near them, the distance being no more than 40 furlongs. So I wrote thus to them, if you are very desirous that I should come to you, you know there are 240 cities and villages in Galilee. I will come to any of them which you please, excepting Gabara and Geshkala, the one of which is John's native city, and the other in confederacy and friendship with them. That's the end of chapter 45. Let's get 46. All right. Chapter 46. When Jonathan and his partners had received this letter, they wrote me no more answers, but called a council of their friends together, and taking John into their consolation, they took counsel together by what means they might attack me. John's opinion was that they should write to all the cities and villages that were in Galilee, for that there must be certainly 1 or 2 persons in every one of them that were at variance with me, and that they should be invited to come to oppose me as an enemy. He would also have them send this resolution of theirs to the city of Jerusalem, that its citizens, upon the knowledge of me and my being a judge to be an enemy by the Galatians, might themselves also confirm that determination. He said also that when this was done, even those Galatians who were well affected to me would desert me out of fear. When John had given them this counsel, what he said was very agreeable to the rest of them. I was also made acquainted with these affairs about the 3rd hour of the night by the means of one Zacchaeus, who had belonged to them, but now deserted them, and came over to me and told me what they were about. So I perceived that no time was to be lost. Accordingly, I gave command to Jacob, an armed man of my guard, whom I esteemed faithful to me, to take 200 men and to guard the passages that led from Gabara to Galilee, and to seize any travelers and send them to me, especially such as were caught with letters about them. I also sent Jeremiah himself, one of my friends, with 600 armed men to the borders of Galilee, in order to watch the roads that led from the country to the city Jerusalem, and gave them charge to lay hold of such as traveled with letters about them, to keep the men in bonds upon the place, but to send me the letters. That's the end of chapter 46. I like how this is going. Chapter 47, and it reads, When I had laid these commands upon them, I gave them orders and directed them to take their arms and bring 3 days' provision with them, and be with me the next day. I also parted those that were about me into 4 parts, and ordained those of them that were most faithful to me to be guard to my body. I also set over them centurions, and commanded them to take care that not a soldier which they did not know should mingle himself among them. Now on the 5th day following, when I was at Gabarath, I found the entire plain that was before the village full of armed men, who were come out of Galilee to assist me. Many others of the multitude also out of the village ran along with me. But as soon as I had taken my place and begun to speak to them, they all made an acclamation, and called me the benefactor and savior of the country. And when I had made them my acknowledgments and thanked them for their affection to me, I also advised them to fight with nobody, nor to plunder the country, but to pitch their tents in the plain, and to be content with the sustenance they had brought with them. For I told them that I had a mind to settle these troubles without shedding any blood. Now it came to pass that on the very same day, those who were sent by John with letters fell among the guards whom I had appointed to watch the roads. So the men were themselves kept upon the place as my orders were. But I got the letters, which were full of reproaches and lies, and I intended to fall upon these men without saying a word of these matters to anybody. That's the end of chapter 47. He's getting mad, boy. Chapter 48, and it reads, Now, as soon as Jonathan and his companions heard of my coming, they took all their own friends and John with them and retired to the house of Jesus, which indeed was a large fortress, in no way unlike a citadel. So they privately led a band of armed men therein, and shut all the other doors but one, which they kept open, and they expected that I should come out on the road to them to salute them. And indeed they had given orders to the armed men that when I come they should let nobody besides me come in, but should exclude others, as supposing that by this means they should easily get me under their power, but they were deceived in their expectation. For I perceived what snares they had laid for me. Now, as soon as I finished my journey, I took up my lodgings near to them and pretended to be asleep. So Jonathan and his party, thinking that I was really asleep and at rest, hurried to go down into the plain to persuade the people that I was an ill governor. But the manner proved otherwise, for upon their appearance there was a cry made by the Galatians, immediately declaring their good opinion of me as their governor. And they made a clamor against Jonathan and his partners for coming to them when they had suffered no harm, and as though they would overturn their happy settlement, and desired them by all means to go back again, for that they would never be persuaded to have any other to rule over them but myself. When I heard of this, I did not fear to go down into the midst of them. I went therefore myself down presently to hear what Jonathan and his companion said. As soon as I appeared, there was immediately an acclamation made to me by the whole multitude, and a cry in my commendation by them, who confessed their thanks was owing to me for my good governing and my good government of them. And that's the end of chapter 48. You want to get, let's go ahead. Let's push through. Let's push through a little bit more. Chapter 49, and it reads, When Jonathan and his companions heard this, they were in fear for their own lives and in danger lest they should be assaulted by the Galatians on my account. So they contrived how they might run away. But as soon as were not able to get off, for I asked them to stay, they doubted the truth of my words to them. I ordered therefore the multitude to restrain entirely their acclamations, and placed the most faithful of my armed men upon their avenues to be a guard to us, lest John should unexpectedly fall upon us. And I encouraged the Galatians to take their weapons, lest they should be distributed by their enemies, if any sudden insult should be made upon them. And then, in the first place, I put Jonathan and his partners in mind of their former letter, and after what manner they had written me, and declared they were sent by the common consent of the people of Jerusalem to make up the differences I had with John, and how they had desired me to come to them. And as I spoke thus, I publicly showed that the letter they had written until they could not at all deny what they had done, the letter itself convicting them. I then said, O Jonathan, and you that are sent with him as his colleagues, if I were to be judged as my behavior compared with that of John's, and had brought no more than 2 or 3 witnesses, good men and true, it is plain you had been forced upon the examination of their characters beforehand to discharge the accusations, that therefore you may be informed that I have acted well in the affairs of Galilee. I think 3 witnesses too few to be brought by a man that has done as he ought to do. So I give you all these for witnesses. Inquire of them how I have lived, and whether I have not behaved myself with all decency and after a virtuous manner among them. And I further conjure you, O Galatians, to hide no part of the truth, but to speak before these men as before judges, whether I have in anything acted otherwise than well. That's the end of chapter 49. Hallelujah. All right. Chapter 50, and it reads, While I was thus speaking, the united voices of all the people joined together and called me their benefactor and savior, and attested to my former behavior, and exhorted me to continue so to do hereafter. And they all said upon their oaths that their wives had been preserved free from injuries, and that no one had ever been aggrieved by me. After this, I read to the Galatians 2 of those letters, which had been sent by Jonathan and his colleagues, and which those whom I appointed to guard the road had taken and sent to me. These were full of reproaches and of lies, as if I had acted more like a tyrant than a governor against them, right? With many other things besides therein contained, which were no better indeed than impudent falsities. I also informed the multitude how I came by these letters, and that those who carried them delivered them up voluntarily, for I was not willing that my enemies should know anything of the guards I had sent or set, lest they should be afraid and leave off writing hereafter. And stop writing. He was getting good information. Like, don't stop writing. Keep writing them letters, man. I'm not trying to make y'all scared. All right, that was the end of chapter 50. Chapter 51, and it reads, When the multitude heard these things, they were greatly provoked at Jonathan and his colleagues, that they were with him, and were going to attack them and kill them. And this they would have done, had I not restrained the anger of the Galatians and said that I forgive Jonathan and his colleagues what is past, if they would repent and go to their own country and tell those who sent them the truth as to my conduct. When I had said this, I let them go, although I knew they would do nothing they had promised. But the multitude were very much enraged against them, and entreated me to give them leave to punish them for their insolence. Yet did I try all methods to persuade them to spare the men, for I knew that every instance of rebellion was ruinous to the public welfare. But the multitude were too angry with them to be dissuaded, and all of them went immediately to the house in which Jonathan and his colleagues abode. However, when I perceived that their rage could not be restrained, I got on horseback and ordered the multitude to follow me to the village Sogani, which was 20 furlongs off Gabara. And by using this stratagem, I so managed myself as not to appear to begin a civil war among men and amongst them. That's the end of chapter 51. Chapter 52 reads, But when I was come near to Sogani, I caused the multitude to make a halt and exhorted them not to be so easily provoked to anger, and to the afflicting such punishments as should not be afterwards recalled. I also gave order that 100 men who were already experienced and were principal men among them should get themselves ready to go to the city of Jerusalem, and should make a complaint before the people of such as raise rebellions in the country. And I said to them that in the case they be removed with what you say, you shall desire the community to write to me, and to ask me to continue in Galilee, and to order Jonathan and his colleagues to depart out of it. When I had suggested these instructions to them, and while they were getting themselves ready as fast as they could, I sent them on this errand the third day after they had been assembled. I also sent 500 armed men with them as a guard. And then I wrote to my friends in Samaria to take care that they might safely pass through the country, for Samaria was already under the Romans, and it was absolutely absolutely necessary for those that go quickly to Jerusalem to pass through that country. For in that road you may, in 3 days' time, go from Galilee to Jerusalem. I also went myself and conducted the old men as far as the bounds of Galilee, and set guards in the roads, that it might not be easily known by anyone that these men were gone. And when I had thus done, I went and abode at Jaffa. That's the end of chapter 52. Cool. Chapter 53. Now Jonathan and his colleagues, having failed of accomplishing what they would have done against me, sent John back to Gishgala, but went themselves to the city of Tiberias, expecting it would submit itself to them. And this was founded on a letter which Jesus, their then governor, had written them, promising that if they came, the multitude would receive them and choose to be under their government. So they went their ways with this expectation. But Silas, who, as I said, had been left curator of Tiberias by me, informed me of this and desired me to hurry there. Accordingly, I complied with his advice immediately and came there, but found myself in danger of my life from the following occasion. Jonathan and his colleagues had been in Tiberias and had persuaded a great many of such as had a quarrel with me to desert me. But when they heard of my coming, they were in fear for themselves and came to me. And when they had saluted me, they said that I was a happy man in having behaved myself so well in the government of Galilee. And they congratulated me upon the honors that were paid me, for they said that my glory was a credit to them, since they had been my teachers and fellow citizens. And they said further that it was just that they should prefer my friendship to them rather than John's, and that they would have immediately gone home, but that they stayed, that they might deliver up John into my power. And when they said this, they took their oaths of it. They took their oaths, as well as those who were most highly regarded among us, and such as I did not think fit to disbelieve. However, they desired me to lodge somewhere else, because the next day was the Shabbat, and that it was not fit the city of Tiberias should be disrupted on that day, right? No travels. You can't travel on Shabbat. That's the end of chapter 53. All right. Cool. We're going to close that one up there, and we're going to come back on the next one, 54. All right. Thanks, Kingdom Builders. Thanks for riding along on this next trip, on this recent trip. That's right, Mishpaka, Salake. A little bit excited, so, I stutter a little bit, right? That's just me. Anyway, thank you, Kingdom Builders, Road Trippers, Akim and Akatim. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Thank you for riding along with me. Please be safe out there as you travel on your road trips, as you go up and down the roads, right? Be safe out there. You already know the drill, right? And as always, man, all praises to the Most High. I miss you, and I'll see you real soon, all right? I love you. Yeah, let's go. That's right, Mr. Kai 5.